So for this video, I'm going to show you not the Azure portal, but I'm going to show you how to run Azure in Windows PowerShell. So PowerShell works for all platforms, and all you have to do is install the Azure module on top of it. So let me show you. So right now I have PowerShell 7. Windows comes default. It comes with PowerShell included. But right there, so I'm gonna use PowerShell 7 because it's the most recent one. I just installed it like a few weeks ago, and run it as administrator. So you have elevated permissions, privileges. So anyway, in PowerShell you just run commands, and we'll use commandlets that are like single purpose commands. And so most important one to know is to get help one. And so the way PowerShell works is you have a verb and noun. That's the syntax of commands. So anyway, get help will get you help on whatever command that you put after it. So if it's like get child item, that'll give you help on that. And then you can also say give the attribute of detailed, and it'll give you more information. Just clear the screen because that's a lot. So anyway, you can get a list of your loaded modules using this command, get module. And it says PowerShell reline, PowerShell management, so that's it. See, it's version 7 of PowerShell. Anyway, so you gotta, if you want to use Azure resources and everything, then you gotta install the module on top of it. So you gotta enter this command of install module, and then the name of it is Azvm. It used to be called something else a few years ago, but they shortened to Azvm. I'm not even gonna go over what it used to be called, because this is backwards compatible in case you used it before. Skip publisher check. So name, allow clobbers, skip publisher check. It's gonna run. It might want you to install the latest version of NuGet. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I already did all that before, so it's not asking me. If you get a script execution failed, just make sure it's opened in elevated privilege, and then you would say set execution policy remote sign. So I'm gonna do it anyway. It's not gonna do anything because it already got installed successfully. But that's what you do. Then you'll be able to import it. Import module. And we're going to do it Azvm. Always gonna. That's if that's how to load commandlets if you want to import any other type of module, but we already installed Azure. Okay, cool. It gets a little slow when that happens, but so now if you ever get a warning or error message that the Azure PowerShell is already installed, you could update to the latest version by doing this command: update module. The name of it is Azvm. And it should work, and if you already had it before, then it'll just reinstall it. So that's how to make it work. So now let's actually start working with the Azure model. So before we did import, but we didn't say AZ. So there it works. So now you'll be able to work with the commandlets of Azure. And so after you do all that, there's one final step before you can begin working. This is what you do every time you open up PowerShell. So let's do, you want to connect your account to it. Connect Azvm account. That's going to open up a new tab in your browser. Pick the account you want, and authentication complete, and it says you can return to and closes. So that gives you your account and your subscription, and you're in. Now you can work with Azure. So let's start by getting a list of our subscriptions. So to do that, you can do, well, let's see, yeah, let's first get a list of our subscriptions. So you do get AZ subscription. Okay, I only have one. And now, if you want to see which one you're actually connected to, you can use get AZ context. I'll show you which one's active. So that's active. Again, I only have one subscription, so whatever. But if you wanted to change your subscription, you just pass the name you just pass the name to it. So you select AZ subscription, and then the subscription ID, which is up here, and you put in the name of it. So let's just do this one. In case we had one of a different name. Close apostrophes. Alright, now we change subscriptions. So now let's work with the next layer down of resource groups. So if you want to see the list of all the resource groups in our active subscription, we do get AZ resource group, and we have the default one. Later on, let me skip to create a resource group, and now I'll show you the next thing. So now we do new AZ resource group, name, the name of the resource group, we're going to call it new RG. And then let's also say location. And this is just optional, the location, but you know, if you want to know the metadata for like compliance reasons, then it's good. And you put in quotes whenever you talk about location, and you just put in a region. So I'll do East US. So now I just created that. Here's the name, here's the location, it succeeded. So now when we go get our names, here's both two resource groups that are on this subscription. Now if you have a lot, then it's hard to see like that, or it's just going to go all the way down the page. So what you do is you can type it into the format as a table, format it to table. And there, it's a lot easier to see. Okay. And you can also do shorthand format table, just FD. Same thing. If you want to save a second or two. Anyway, so that's how to get the list of resource groups. Now let's verify that the resource is in it. So if you want, actually there's one more thing to do with resource groups. If you want to get the resource of a resource group, you do get Azure resource, and you say the resource group name, you say resource group name, and then you put in the resource group name. So let's do network watcher RG. And I don't think we have anything in it. Let's do new RG. Okay, yeah, so all we had in it was whatever resource type that is, a network watcher. And in the one that we had just created, there's no resource in it, so it's empty. Okay, so that's how you could verify a resource group, or at least just check what's in, what resources are in it. So now let's actually create a resource, because we created this resource group. So now let's do a virtual machine. And so the commandlet has many parameters, but a lot of them, or most of them even, have reasonable default values, so you only really need to specify a few things. But I'm going to show you, let me just finish reading. I'm going to show you that you don't really have to say much if you want to just create a virtual machine real quick, but of course then it might not be to your liking. You could just do new Azure. Let's just see if this works. Supply values for it, so the resource group name that we're going to give it. So if you do this way, it'll do like step by step here instead of you listing it all out manually. Well, I mean, we're doing it manually, but we're not saying every attribute. It's giving us the attributes to give the value to. So anyway, the name, so new RG, the credentials, user and password, access the virtual machine. It says no size value has been provided. It'll be will be created with default size of standard D2S. So it's going to take a little bit. So as it's going, let me explain. So now after that, we're going to create a second virtual machine, and this time we're going to actually list some more stuff. We're also going to give the virtual machine its name, and we're also going to, okay, where was I? Whatever, I forgot. So anyway, so it created it, gives you some info, succeeded, great. Here's a resource group and here's the name of it. That's gonna get confusing. Anyway, so let's create that second one. And here's where we'll give it the attributes. Resource group name is going to be new RG, and the name of the machine, which I thought I was asking about before. What's his name here? I should have gave it a better name, but we're gonna give it let's just do 1, 2, 3, and credential. If you don't put this, it'll just ask you for it anyway. But what you could do is just do credential, and then in parentheses, you get the credential. And that's how you get it together with the parameter of credential. And now let's do location, so it doesn't ask us that. East US. And we could do size, we could do image. I'm just gonna leave it. That didn't work. Get credential. Actually, I'm gonna try it without doing that, honestly. So I'll come back when it's ready, and this time I'm not. I'm just gonna do credential and not do anything. See what it says. All right. So looks like it's faster than using the portal doing it this way a bit. So yeah, let's do about that. Okay, yeah, doesn't work. What if we don't put in the credential? it's still asking for it, so I don't know the point of that. It said to do that in the documentation. Whatever. Oh no, it's going to be called the same thing. We have to delete this. Well, let's see what's the resource name. Get AC. Well, let's put in the table. Okay, so we have we got a lot of virtual machines now. Well, no, they're not all virtual machines. Here it is. Disk. So 1, 2, demo 1, 2, 3, and new arch. So that second time that we did it here without putting the credential parameter and it asking for us later, it looks like it just overwrote the other one or didn't go through. But it succeeded, so I guess it overwrote it because it's the same name and everything. So yeah, so it was only 2 virtual machines. And now let's remove one. So command is remove Azvm. So if we just do that, it wants you to give it the name of what you want to remove. So I'll remove, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. Okay, which resource group is that in? Well, it's in new RG. And then it wants to give you another chance of like, are you sure you want to? And I said yes. And it's gonna take a little bit. I'll come back once ready. Okay, so it takes a little bit longer to remove, but it succeeded. Only a minute or so. Feels longer when you actually wait. But anyway, so remove that one. Now it's actually being more specific of saying, hey, we want to remove NRG and its resource group name is new RG. And that should work. So that's how to do it all in one line instead of just saying, okay, let it ask us itself. But it's always going to ask for like the required info. So as this is getting deleted, I'm going to just show other commandlets you could do with your virtual machine. And I'll pause. There's no point to wait a minute. Okay, it's ready. So that's how to create and delete virtual machines. You can also do start AZ. Whoops. You can also do start Azvm. And now I'll start a stop virtual machine, and it's going to ask, oh, which one do you want? I don't even think we have any more. See if that works. Yep, let's see. Yes, I know we don't have any, so let's see what resources we have. Keep forgetting. So yeah, we don't have any more virtual machines, but anyway, that would be how to start a virtual machine. And to stop one is just stop Azvm. There's also restart, and that restarts the virtual machine. What else is there? You could do update, and that updates the configuration. So those are some more commands you could do for virtual machines. So the last thing, well, a couple last things that are related is you could do get Azvm to show the virtual machines, but I don't have any. So let me just create one real fast, and then I'll show it to you again. I'll come back when it's ready. Okay, created, so now let's see it. And there's the virtual machine, so that's how to show them. But let's say if we want to specify the virtual machine that we wanted to show in the subscription by its name property, then we can assign it to a PowerShell variable. So you do money sign VM equals get Azvm, and then we say, okay, what do we want this, what property, and we do the name property, and it's called demo 123, and then let's do it also by resource group. We also gotta put the resource group name, and it's in new RG. Let's get Azvm named. Let me see what I did here. No, I don't. Why did I do it in uppercase? Capitalize. Okay, well, I'll test that in a different video. Maybe I'm not understanding it right. For getting information for VM, I need to check the documentation on that. Okay, I just created a second virtual machine in the same resource group. Well, let's just show it. Oh God, I keep forgetting. Okay, so now we have two virtual machines, test, both in underneath new RG. I don't know why it went to capitalize for the disk, but okay. So if we try that thing I did before, VM get virtual machine demo 123 and insist, let's see what happens. What am I doing wrong? Let's try that. Let's try get Azvm. Okay. Status. It shows you that they're running now, those virtual machines. And let me try out this last thing. Resource group name equals new RG, then I don't know, did I do this all in one line? Let me check. Then we do VM equals get the VM, and the name is demo 123 resource resource group name is one that we said before. So just stored as a variable. And then now that variable of demo123 being VM, let's do hardware profile dot VM size, and we're going to make it equal standard DS. I forgot the different sizes, but I'm trying to see if it. Whatever. I need to learn the command how to get to the right spot. Whatever. Should probably just type something. Yeah. Okay, DS3 V2. And now we're going to update it. Resource group name and resource. Putting in a variable, and the VM is this. Yeah. New RGs. Okay, maybe it's doing bits and pieces. Okay, boom. Nope. VM equals get Azure VM. Name demo3 resource group name and the variable of resource group name, which is new RG. Let's try that. Okay. Now we do the VM hardware profile. Go standard. Let's change it. I think it already came like that, so I think it's BS1. Hopefully that works. So we're going to change it. And now we're going to update it. Update missing argument for parameter resource group name. Oh. Wow. One second. Okay. Well, it worked, but that's not a real thing. VS1, V2. Let's find one that's set. Standard B2S. Let's do that. Standard B2S. Okay. Come on, work. See, as you can see, I'm learning this all as I go. That's why I'm making a video, so I can study better, and hopefully I'll get more experience, and then I'll be able to know how to do everything quickly. But as it's doing this, I'm gonna pause. But well, basically, this is just using the PowerShell in interactive mode where we're just doing one-off tasks like, creating a resource group or creating a virtual machine or deleting one or very simple stuff. But there's also interactive mode, and that's quicker and easier for just doing more than just one-off things. And there you could write a script and execute it, and it only executes once, and then you could do a whole bunch of things. So I think it worked. Let's check the status of it. And it's a B2S, right? Yeah. Demo 2.3 B2S, no more D2S V3. So that's how to, where you can make variables so you don't have to type in new RG every time you type in a resource group name. It takes longer, but imagine your name was longer or you don't want to remember it or whatever. That's using the PowerShell variable thing. It's a lot quicker, the VM part. Resource group names, it's a lot. And then you could use it to update, so just kind of do it command by command instead of all at once, otherwise that's going to happen. So you create that variable, then you create the next variable, and then you change it, and then you update it. So it's like one off. Now if we had a script, we could do all that at once. Anyway, I'll show interactive mode of scripting in the next video.